morning children. Welcome back to your English classes. So children, I hope you all have seen the videos. We have already completed part 1 of chapter 4, the ashes that made trees bloom. So we have seen in the last video in part 1 how the old kind-hearted couple, they became wealthy, they became rich with the help of their pet dog Muko. Now again we'll see twice they became rich. Now let's see in the second part what happens. Not long after that, the good old man dreamed again. Now again he had a vision. Again he dreamt of the dog, and the spirit of the dog spoke to him, telling him how the wicked people had burned the mill made from the pine tree. So the dog narrated the story how the wicked couple, जो हाथ की जो चक्की है, मिल मीन्स जो हाथ की जो चक्की, तो उसको कैसे तोड़ के उसको जला दिया. It was made out of pine tree. Now what he's telling, take the ashes of the mill. So once you burn that चक्की का जो that mill, you have ashes left over. So you take that ashes and what you have to do? Sprinkle them on the withered trees. Withered means bare and dry, जिसमें फल फूल नहीं लगते. And they will bloom again, said the dog spirit. So फिर वापस वो जो dry bare trees है वो वापस खिल जाएंगे, वापस उसमें फल और फूल लग जाएंगे. Bloom means it will come up with fresh fruits and flowers, said the dog spirit. So this was the vision that the old man had got. Now the old man awoke, and the way the dog had told him, he did the same. And he directly went at once to his wicked neighbor's house, where he found the miserable old pair. Old pair means this old couple. He went to their neighbors, that wicked neighbor's house, to take ashes that was left from the mill. At the edge of this square fireplace in the middle of the floor. So in this wicked couple, they were sitting in the middle of the floor, and what they were doing? They were smoking and spinning. Spinning means charka chala rahe the. From time to time, they warmed their hand. That means it was winter season. So between what they used to do, they used to burn their hand to keep themselves warm and feet with the blaze from. So children, move on to the next page. So from time to time what they did? They warmed their hands and feet to keep themselves warm. Moving on to the next page. Some bits of the mill while they lay a pile of the broken pieces. So whatever pieces were left over, uske bhi wo jala ke they were keeping themselves warm. The good old man humbly, he very politely, very kindly, he asked for the ashes. So he just went and asked that he wanted the ashes that were left over. Though the covetous means greedy, lalchi, couple turned up their noses at him. That means they showed their arrogance. They had so much of attitude and scolded him. उसे डांट भी लगाई, as if he were a thief. The way they shouted at him as if he was a thief. He has come to rob. They let him fill his basket with the ashes, but then they allowed him to take ashes. On coming home, the old man took his wife into the garden. Or जैसे he was coming home, he also took his wife along with him and went into the garden. So the moment the old man, he reached home, the old man, he also took his wife to the garden. Why he wanted to go to the garden? Because the spirit of the dog told him to throw the ashes, to sprinkle the ashes on the withered trees. And what will happen? The trees will bloom up again. It being winter, their favorite cherry tree was bare. So as it was winter time, the cherry tree won't have fruits. Why? It would remain bare because of the snow. He sprinkled a pinch of ashes on it, and lo, So what he did, as the cherry tree, it was his favorite fruit, it was his favorite tree. So he sprinkled the ashes on the cherry tree, and the moment he sprinkled the ashes on the tree, what happened? Surprise! It sprouted blossoms until it became a cloud of pink blooms which perfumed the air. So the fragrance of the flowers, it filled with the air. And the news of this was a big news, because cherry tree during winter, it mostly don't blossom. But this news spread everywhere in the kingdom, within the village, and everyone ran out to see the wonder. Wonder means miracle, एक चमत्कार हुआ, तो सारे लोग उसे इकट्ठे हो गए देखने के लिए. How this took place. Next, the covetous couple also heard the story, and gathering up the remaining ashes of the mill, kept them to make withered trees blossom. So थोड़े और ashes, even this news came into the ears of this wicked couple, और इनको पता चला ये कैसे चमत्कार हुआ, with the help of the ashes that was lying there. So what was remaining? The ashes, उन्होंने वो लिया और उन्होंने the same way how the old kind-hearted couple sprinkled, they also took that ashes and they sprinkled. The kind old man, hearing that his lord, the daimyo, was to pass along the high road. So now this kind old couple, इनको news आया, hearing that in those days the daimyo, that his lord means king, the one who rules the kingdom. Hearing that his lordship, the daimyo, was to pass along the high road, उस road से निकलने वाले थे. So hearing that the daimyo was to pass along the high road, what he did, what he planned, children? He moved to the village, set out to see him, taking his basket of ashes. So as he heard that the daimyo the lord is about to pass from his village, he went there and he moved out to see him, and उसने साथ में अपने basket में ashes भी रखे थे. As the train approached, train means procession, not the train what we have, the transportation, mode of transportation, no. Train means the procession, जो rally निकलती है, जैसे राजा महाराजा जब चलते तो उनके साथ उनके सैनिक, उनके किंगडम के सारे लोग, they all follow one after another. He climbed up into an old withered cherry tree that stood by the wayside. So as this procession was moving on, what he did, this old man, he climbed up to an old withered tree. जिस ट्री पे फल और फूल नहीं थे, वो उस पे चढ़ गया. That stood on the wayside. Now in the days of the daimyos, it was the custom when their lord passed by for all the loyal people to shut up their high windows. It was a custom during those days that whenever such royal people moved from their villages में से जब भी निकलते, it was a custom that the people of that village should not stand up straight and look at them. They should bow their heads and they should fall on their knees and जैसे पेट के बल लेट जाते हैं वैसे लेके, why? Out of high respect, due respect we give to the king. So it was that custom. They even pasted them fast with a slip of paper so as not to commit the impertinence of looking down on his lordship. Impertinence means गलती नहीं करे, दृष्टा नहीं करे, कि they look at the face directly on the king. So all the people along the road would fall upon their hands and knees and remain prostrate. Prostrate means पेट के बल ऐसे लेट जाते हैं, until the procession passed by. So nobody was allowed to look at the face of the lord, of the king. Everybody should bow down. The train drew near. Train means procession. One tall, competent man marched ahead. एक आदमी, लंबा सा आदमी, he was taking the procession ahead. So one tall man competent man, he marched ahead, crying out to the people by the way, get down on your knees. So there was a man who was taking this procession. He was standing in front and he was shouting, get down on your knees, get down on your knees. And everyone, what they used to do, all the villagers, they kneeled down while the procession was passing. Suddenly, the leader of the van caught sight of the aged man up in the tree. तो एक leader ने देख लिया, this old kind man, he was up in the tree, तो उसका ध्यान गया. He was about to call out to him in an angry tone, but seeing he was such an old fellow, he pretended not to notice him and passed him by. So वो leader का ध्यान गया that there was a man sitting on the tree, up in the tree. But when he saw that he was an old man, उसने अनदेखा कर लिया. He pretended ऐसे उसने देखा ही नहीं. There was no one. So when the daimyo's palanquin means royal van cart, drew near, what the old man did, children? Taking a pinch of ashes from his basket, he scattered it over the tree. So the moment the vanity van, the palanquin, it came near the tree, immediately this old man, whatever ashes he had in his basket, he took a pinch of ashes and he sprinkled on the withered tree. And what happened? In a moment, it burst into blossom. The delighted daimyo ordered the train to be stopped. So the daimyo, the king है, उसने वहाँ पर रोका. किसको रोका? The procession. And he got out to see the wonder, and he came down from this van to see how this miracle happened. Calling the old man to him, he thanked him and ordered presents of silk robes, sponge cake, fans and other rewards to be given him. He even invited him to his castle. So, seeing the miracle, what took place, the king was so much delighted, so much happy that उसने उस old man को बहुत सारे gifts दिए. He rewarded him or even invited him to his castle, to his palace. So the old man went gleefully home to share his joy with his dear old wife. So even the old man was so happy that he went home and he shared this news to his wife, with his wife. Children, next page. But what happens next? When the greedy neighbor heard of it, he took some of the magic ashes and went out on the highway. Now this news also reached, किनको सुनाई दिया? इनके पास पहुंच गया. This old wicked couple. And the same way how the old man did, the same way he also went and repeated the same thing. There he waited until a daimyo's train came along, and instead of kneeling down like the crowd, he climbed a withered cherry tree. So he didn't kneel down there. जैसे वो old man एक पेड़ के ऊपर चढ़ गया, the tree which was withered, bare and dry, the same way this old wicked man, वो भी उस पेड़ पे चढ़ गया. When the daimyo himself was almost directly under him, जैसे पेड़ के नीचे, exactly पेड़ के नीचे the king, the daimyo reached, what he did? He threw a handful of ashes over the tree, which did not change a particle. He sprinkled the ashes on the tree, but कुछ हुआ? Nothing. It did not change. The wind blew the fine dust in the noses and the eyes of the daimyo and his wife. तो सारे ashes जो हवा में फैल गए, it went into the eyes and nose of the king and his wife. Such sneezing and choking, it spoiled all the pomp and dignity of the procession. So जो pomp था, जो show का, जो procession का जो respect था, सब खराब कर दिया. The man whose business it was to cry, get down on your knees, seized the old fool. Seized means the leader, he caught hold of whom? Of this old wicked man. उसको पकड़ लिया. By the collar, dragged him from the tree and tumbled him and his ash basket into the ditch by the road. उसको मारा पीट के, वहाँ खड्डा था, उसको फेंक दिया. Then beating him soundly, he left him for the dead. बहुत बुरी तरह मारा till he could not move. Thus the wicked old man died in the mud, but the kind friend of the dog dwelt in peace and plenty, and both he and his wife lived to a green old age. Green means the couple was very active, they lived happily and peacefully, prosperous. So children, have you all understood the story? This is by William Elliot Griffiths. It's a Japanese tale. How we have your Panchtantra tales in India, this is a Japanese tale. So I hope you all have understood this chapter, children. Okay. Children, your homework for today is you have to read the chapter and write the meanings. You have to read the chapter and write the meanings in your notebook. Is that clear? Part 1 and part 2 both. So this is your homework for today. So all of you, bye. Take care.